Today I'm going to review this Kingbolen BF200 brake fluid tester. I've never used one of these before. Looks like a handy tool to use, so I'm going to unpack it and give it a go. Right, so straight out the box, it's a little lightweight little tool. It's got this little grip, fits your hand nicely, little digital screen, some buttons here, and it has this extension that's flexible, that has the probe on the end that you dip into your reservoir to test the fluid. So first off, the main reason that we do this is we're testing for water content in your brake system. Obviously we don't want water in the brake system because it's compressible. It has a lower boiling point than brake fluid also, and it can also cause corrosion in the system, which can degrade components over time and obviously reduce the performance of your brakes. So yeah, that's why we're doing this. The box says that this machine should be used with .3, .4 and .5.1. So this is the most common sort of brake fluids that are used in most cars, so you shouldn't have a problem. It should cover your vehicle. So let's have a little test and see what this brake fluid's like in the Scooby. So first discovery, this does not come with batteries, so you want to get yourself a couple of AAA batteries to power this up. So the brake fluid on this car is actually specified on the cap, but obviously you want to double check that with the manufacturer specification, but it does say .3 and I already know that this is .3, so that's fine. If you look at the screen now, we can see that if we press this menu button, you can select .4, .5.1 back to .3. So you have your three selections by pressing this menu button. Sorry for the out of focus. This S button here turns the screen illumination off and back on. It's quite bright, so if you're in a dark environment you can still see what you're doing. You don't need the light. Another thing that I noticed which is quite good, if you press this light button here, you have the light on the end of the probe, which is also handy. It is quite bright. And then this is just the power button. So we've selected .3, so now we're going to test the fluid. Okay, so let me just focus this. There you go. So I've put the fluid into the reservoir, it's submersed, and we have a reading on the left hand side there, a little scale that tells us we're in the OK bracket. So we are greater, it looks to me that we're greater than 1% of water, but just less than 2%. You have the greater than 3 to 4 with a little warning triangle there, so obviously that's the time you need to change your fluid. Personally, I'm looking into changing this fluid now because obviously I want it as low as possible, so I'm gonna change the fluid, bleed everything, and then retest it. So it looks like it's ready for a change basically. Another thing I would mention as well with this is obviously you want to wear gloves when you're doing this. You don't want to get this on your hands. Brake fluid, it's not a very nice substance to have absorbing into your skin. Also you want some sort of rag handy when you take this probe out, so you don't get any drips onto anywhere on your car or on your bodywork, because believe me, you don't want this on your bodywork. It's gonna do some damage to your paint, so just take those precautions. So we're going to try it on another car now, and this one indicates .4, and as I said, you should check the manual anyway, but I know this is .4, so I'm going to test it for .4. Okay, so we're set up for .4. We're going to insert the probe. Now it's hard to fully submerge the probe in this reservoir, but we've got the actual sensor part of it is submerged, but we're bordering on, we have greater than 2%, but less than 3%, but we're on the border, so this definitely is in need of a replace of the brake fluid, which I did kind of expect because it hasn't been done since I've had it, so that's another job for me to do. Now we have this little Ford Fiesta, and again .4, so I'm going to give this a go. So yeah, we're going to give this a test, but as you can see, you can manipulate this into the shape you want it to make it ideal for actually taking the reading. So we're going to fully submerge if we can. There we go. And here we have, similar to the Citroen, so we have a less than 3% but greater than 2%, so I'd look into getting this one done as well. So this is another Subaru Impreza. This car has been sat a long time. So I suspect this is going to be bad. Right, so if you look at the brake fluid reservoir, the coloration is not very good, and this one looks a million times worse. This is syrup. So obviously there's a lot you can tell about the coloration. This is having a nice sort of yellow tinge to it, really, but it shouldn't be brown and syrupy. And this is not as bad, but it needs doing. So I'm going to test it again. Right, so we've got a reading that. So this is an okay reading. Based on the coloration, I would change this, but this is actually saying it's okay. So I've put the probe in the clutch fluid reservoir now, and I've got it set to 5.1. This is the only time when I can get an actual reading which says it's okay. So this is just an incorrect reading. On the other two, .4 and .3, it doesn't register anything. I take it that it's just the fluid's too far gone to register anything. But just looking at it, you would know straight away that you have to change this fluid. It's very bad. We're on a relatively new Peugeot partner van, and this has .4, so we're going to give that a check. Okay, select .4. I'm going to put the probe into the fluid, and we have a lower reading. So this van's regularly serviced, so we're not expecting this to be bad. So this looks perfect. Right, so the tool. We did it on a few of the vehicles, and it sort of had some sort of consistency with it, based on what the fluid looked like in the car. And I know the history of the vehicles, and they've been serviced and how long the fluid's been in there for. So that seemed accurate, and we had a range of different readings. Also, but that's another thing. So on the second Subaru, which has been sat for a long time, I haven't even changed brake fluid on that since I bought it. So God knows how long that's been in there for. On the clutch side of it, it gave no reading at all. It couldn't even pick up what the fluid was, I'm guessing. That's the only thing I can think of, that it's just not giving a reading back. It's just not even being able to pick up anything. But as a visual, you would clearly know you had to replace that, because it was just like slime. So it was just not serving any sort of purpose. It needs a good flush out and change. But on the brake side of it, brake reservoir, the fluid looked discolored enough for me to change it. It didn't look like it. It looked like it's time to change the coloration of it, but it wasn't sort of a sludgy consistency. It still looked fluid like, but the tool said it was okay. So I don't know, maybe it's a bit hit and miss. Maybe it's more accurate reading the .4 rather than the .3, but then again, this car was a .3. All in all, it's a cheap little tool. You can't go wrong, really. You're not going to lose anything, and it could be just a quick, nice indicator whether your brake fluid's in good condition for cars that are regularly used or regularly serviced. That's what I would say anyway.